In the last part, we saw that Ji-woo and Jung Hee's complicated relationship keeps changing as they figure out their feelings for each other. Kim Young struggles with his growing feelings for Jung Hee and tries to find a way to tell her. Yeji's mother pressures her to marry someone else, even though she has feelings for Ji-woo. In present, Kim Young struggles to present musical tickets to Jung Hee, unaware of the cloud of doom looming over both of them with Jung Hee's brother Song's arrival. Jung Hee's brother Song came to Seoul to set up his career and business, but the business he had in mind was to get married and settle down with a rich girl. With that in mind, he approaches every single girl at clubs all the time, but no one gives him any attention or time of the day. Back at the bar, Jung Hee is looking at the tickets and thinking about how to present them to Ji-woo and ask him to go to the musical with her. That is when she suddenly has the idea to go and make him a dessert. Without wasting any time after having this thought, she walks over to the kitchen and makes a French dessert for him. Once it is ready, she plates it and then serves it to Ji-woo. Ji-woo asks her if she is interested in French cuisine since he has observed that she mostly makes French dishes. Jung Hee replies and tells him about her love for French cuisine. Ji-woo then takes a bite of the dessert and expresses how good it is, and then he compliments her cooking. She gets happy, and then she finally asks Ji-woo about his opinion on musical shows. Before Ji-woo is able to answer, Yeji enters, and she announces that she has brought some food. So they set it up on the table as there was a lot of variety in the food. Yeji then says that she brought it from the most famous restaurant in Seoul in an attempt to clearly impress Ji-woo. Jung Hee lets a laugh out and exclaims that she thought Yeji made it herself. Yeji felt embarrassed, and she wanted to show Jung Hee her place, so she tries to feed Ji-woo a bite from her hands. But Ji-woo refuses to open his mouth, and as a result of this, the food falls from the chopsticks onto Yeji's own dress, leaving a stain. Jung Hee finds this hilarious and starts laughing out loud, and this pisses off Yeji. Ji-woo gets up to get a napkin for Yeji's dress. When he leaves the table, Yeji looks at Jung Hee and tells her that, as of yesterday, she and Ji-woo were officially a couple, so she basically told Jung Hee to back off. This left Rose and Jung Hee in absolute shock, but Rockstar had a different reaction. He began congratulating Yeji for getting official with Ji-woo. Once Yeji leaves, Jung Hee goes to the corner where the bookshelf is, and she begins to think to herself. She thinks that since Ji-woo is now dating Yeji, it would not be right or appropriate for her to ask him out to the musical show. So she takes out one of her French novels from the bookshelf, hides the envelope containing the tickets inside it, puts the novel back on the bookshelf, and leaves. Ji-woo sees her doing this, but she doesn't notice. He gets curious, thinking about what might be inside that envelope, so he waits for her to leave. When she finally does, he walks over to the bookshelf, takes out that novel, and picks up the envelope. He then opens up the envelope and realizes that Jung Hee wanted to go to the musical show with him, which is why she asked him if he liked musical shows. The plot thickens with Yeji and Kim Young sitting on a rooftop together. Yeji asks him if he has asked Jung Hee to the show yet and given her the tickets, indirectly inquiring if he has confessed his feelings to Jung Hee. He refuses and explains that he feels that she does not feel the same way about him, so he does not want to risk losing the friendship. That is because she might be his first love, but she is also his friend, and he does not want to lose that friendship as he cannot hurt her like that. This leaves Yeji speechless. He returns her tickets to her and leaves. Ji-woo was sitting with the envelope that Jung Hee hid, still thinking about it. His thoughts are disturbed by Yeji's call. He picks up the call and Yeji asks him to meet her somewhere outside, but he lies and makes up an excuse by saying that he is not feeling well. He refuses to come after this excuse and cuts the call. At the office, Yeji approaches Kim Young and asks him to go to the musical show together. Kim Young is shocked after hearing this and points out that it would be awkward for the both of them. She tells him that the only reason she is asking him is because she does not want to go alone. She spills her guts to Kim Young about how she planned to go with her boyfriend, Ji-woo, but he fell sick, so she will either go with Kim Young now or she will waste the tickets. After listening to this, Kim Young agrees to go with her to the musical. The next scene starts off by showing Jung Hee going to the bookshelf to get the tickets for the musical show because she does not want to waste the tickets. But when she opens the novel, she finds the envelope to be missing, so she gets a bit panicked. At that very moment, Ji-woo comes and tells her that he has the tickets. He shows the envelope to her to prove it, and then asks her to go to the show with him. She is shocked and a little worried. Before she even processes it, he is walking her to the car. Once they get in the car, they hit the road. She tries everything to get out of this situation, and even suggests that he go alone. Ji-woo questions why she is worried. Jung Hee explains that she thinks this is not right and she feels awkward since now he and Yeji are officially dating. He reassures her by saying that they're boss and employee, so they're going on that relationship basis only. This kind of helps calm her down, but just as confirmation, she tells him not to be too kind to her today. Ji-woo replies that he is always naturally kind, open, and caring to everyone, so she should not worry. This leaves her calm and quiet for the rest of the car ride. Before the musical show, Ji-woo decides to take her to a restaurant, but not just any regular restaurant. It is one of the absolute best French restaurants in Seoul and extremely luxurious and expensive. Jung Hee is extremely excited and she could not hide it. Ji-woo just keeps looking at her and smiling. She asks him if he also liked French cuisine, and he tells her that he does like it now. The food starts arriving and Jung Hee has never been more excited in her entire life before. She begins to take a photo of everything with her phone because she's only seen foods like these in French cooking books, and she never imagined she would ever see the same foods in real. When they are done eating, Ji-woo orders every single dessert. This makes her very excited, and she asks him why he did all of this. He replies that since she wants to make all of these things, it's important for her to be familiar with the flavor behind them. Jung Hee thanks him a lot, and he just can't help but stare at her. During their conversation, she tells him about how she plans on going to France to master all of the French dishes and become a famous chef. She also tells him how she was almost about to go, but ran into a few complications. And now that she has saved enough, she will travel to France and fulfill this dream. Seeing her so ambitious about her dreams just leaves Ji-woo staring and smiling. She asks him if she can get the leftovers packed, and he says yes, of course, and so they conclude their meal. At the theater, Kim Yong is waiting for Ye-ji to arrive at the venue. When she finally does, she leaves Kim Yong staring at her because of how beautiful she looks. She was wearing shoes instead of high heels, and that left Kim Yong in awe because he liked it when girls dressed more naturally. They finally enter the show, and so do Jung Hee and Ji-woo. Jung Hee is too invested in the show and enjoying it, while Ji-woo just stares at her and thinks about something she said in the car, which was when she asked Ji-woo not to be too kind and nice to her. On the other hand, Kim Yong keeps thinking about the time he asked Jung Hee if she liked Ji-woo, and she was unable to answer. Just thinking about this hurt Kim Yong and left him sad. Meanwhile, Ye-ji is thinking about how much she tries to get Ji-woo to like her, but it does not work. And then the show ends. Jung Hee gets up from her seat and starts clapping very loudly because no matter the fact that others were very deep in their sad thoughts, she was very happy because she got to enjoy the show next to Ji-woo. Ji-woo and Jung Hee are talking as they leave, but they run into Kim Yong and Ye-ji. Ji-woo is shocked to see Ye-ji there. Kim Yong is upset and shocked to see Jung Hee there with Ji-woo. Ye-ji is shocked to see Ji-woo there with Jung Hee, and Jung Hee is shocked to see Kim Yong there with Ye-ji. They all decide to sit somewhere together and talk about it. Ye-ji starts to shout at Jung Hee and says that it was funny how her boyfriend was out with Jung Hee and she was out at the same place with another guy. Ji-woo asks her to be quiet and offers to take her home, but she snaps at Ji-woo and demands answer for the fact that he told her that he was sick, but instead came here with Jung Hee. He responds that it was just a cultural activity for the bar. Ye-ji snaps again and says that he could have gone with her, rather than going with someone as cheap and low as Jung Hee. She then looks at Jung Hee and degrades her by accusing her of fooling rich guys, like with Ji-woo. Ji-woo defends Jung Hee and tells Ye-ji how he forced Jung Hee to come with her, and she was not at fault here. But Ye-ji did not stop attacking her and says things like she was just a poor and clever girl trying to get with Ji-woo for his money, calling her fake and calling her a fox. Kim Yong snaps and tells Ye-ji to be quiet now, but she does not listen and turns to him with a dig that Jung Hee has also been using him, and she is just taking advantage of his friendship and nothing more. Having enough of hearing all of this, Kim Yong snaps and asks Ye-ji how much she actually knows Jung Hee to be talking all of this about her, especially in front of him. He asks her how she even dared to say all of this about Jung Hee in front of him. Jung Hee asks Kim Yong to leave it and be quiet, but Ye-ji starts talking again and calls Jung Hee a gold digger and says that Jung Hee has had her eyes on Ji-woo since the beginning, and that is why she started working in the bar in the first place. After hearing all of this, Kim Yong gets really angry and stands up. He starts yelling at Ye-ji, telling her to apologize to Jung Hee, and he doesn't even stop when Jung Hee tells him to. Ji-woo gets really angry and starts yelling at Kim Yong, asking him how he dares to yell at Ye-ji and demands he apologize to her. This hurts Jung Hee, as Ye-ji had been degrading her for so long, but Ji-woo did not say anything in her defense. The moment Kim Yong said something to Ye-ji, he sprinted up to defend her. Ji-woo gets up and grabs Ye-ji's hand and leaves, saying that he will drop her home. When they reach, Ji-woo tells Ye-ji to apologize to Jung Hee in the morning. Ye-ji asks him why she should apologize, and then she grabs his arm and asks questions like, will he ever leave her? And will he stay with her forever and be her boyfriend? Sick and tired of this, he does not reply and just gets in his car and leaves. On the other hand, Kim Yong is with Jung Hee. He sees her sad and comforts her by telling her how they both are from completely different worlds. They are rich and powerful people. And he says that Ji-woo is with Ye-ji because she is the daughter of the chairman of the company. Jung Hee gets up and says that she already knows all of this. He wonders that if she already knows all of this, then why she got hurt when Ji-woo acted that way. She ignores his answer and gets on her bus. And when she sat down, all she could think about was the many moments that she had spent with Ji-woo. She thinks about how she did not have any feelings for him, and she actually tried to keep her distance from him, but he made her like him by spending all that time giving her affection. And then, remembering how he acted tonight, she got sad again and felt hurt. On the other side of town, Ji-woo is driving around town and thinking about how he has actually started to develop feelings for Jung Hee too. He remembered how he felt so comfortable with her all the time and how happy she made him feel. But then he starts thinking about what Ye-ji said to him earlier, and that instantly reminded him of what Min-jo said to him before Min-jo died. After he remembers this, he begins to lose his mind. On the other side of the city, Kim Yong reaches his home. He is worried about Jung Hee and calls to check on her, but she does not pick up. He keeps calling her, but she does not pick up a single call. She was lost in thought, thinking about how Ji-woo took Ye-ji's side, especially after he practically forced her to go to the show with him, and then he ditched her in front of everyone. Ji-woo reached his house. He parked his car in his driveway, and when he got out of the car, he was surprised to find Jung Hee sitting at his doorstop. He immediately asks her what she's doing here, and then tells her that it is very late at night and unsafe, and she should go back home. He says this and walks by her to go inside his house. Jung Hee gets up and asks him why he treats her so nicely. Although she knows that he is dating Ye-ji, and they are both from different worlds, but since Ji-woo treats her so adorably, she has developed feelings for him, and so she confesses this to him. She also tells him that because he treats her so nicely, she has fallen in love with him. Ji-woo stops walking and stands there shocked and just listens to all of this and lets it sink in. He replies by asking Jung Hee not to love him and says that he is not worthy and deserving of her love. Then he turns around and just leaves. Jung Hee stands there for a few minutes, just digesting his words, and then, when she is done processing them, she leaves and goes to the bus stop, waiting for the bus. She heavily cries at the bus stop and starts eating the leftover desserts from the restaurant. There she is thinking to herself that now that he wants her not to like him anymore, she will be ignoring him from now on. After this thought, she starts crying more again, but this time she cries even harder. On the other hand, Ji-woo was also shocked after hearing Jung Hee's love confession, because he knows that deep down, he also definitely has feelings for her too. But he is confused about his own feelings at this point, and he is also pressurized by Ye-ji's feelings and commitments for him. The next scene begins by showing us that Kim Yong is at the office the next day, and he is worried about Jung Hee. While he's thinking about her, another lady walks in and asks everyone where Ye-ji is, and tells everyone that she's busy for a meeting. We are then shown some people talking bad things and backbiting about the daughter of the chairman, Ye-ji. They are saying mean things about her, like she has had a plastic surgery on her entire face just to look better, and things like all she does is waste her mom's money. Ye-ji walks out of one of the bathroom stalls because she overhears everything. She walks to these two women and shows them her face, and tells them that it's all natural. And then she points out their eyes and nose surgery and says that the people who get surgery themselves always find problems in other people's faces for no reason. Then she says that she doesn't blame these two women because God made Ye-ji more beautiful than them, so it's common for them to point out flaws in other people. After hearing this, the two women fake a laugh just so that they do not offend Ye-ji anymore, since she is the chairman's daughter. Ye-ji leaves and the two backbiting women start to panic and worry, thinking maybe Ye-ji will get them both fired. Ye-ji is walking towards her office when Kim Yong sees her and stops her. He asks her to meet him outside of the workplace after the office hours are over, and after some consideration, and thinking she agrees. At the bar the next day, Ji-woo says good job to Jung Hee. She slams the box on the countertop loudly. This leaves Rose confused and kind of worried over what is happening. When Ji-woo asks for some lemons, Jung Hee walks over, grabs the lemon bowl and slams it on the countertop again very loudly. Ji-woo then asks for cherries, and then once again, Jung Hee walks over to the cherries, picks up the bowl, and yet again slams it very loudly on the countertop. Ji-woo was very worried about this behavior from Jung Hee, because even while she was cleaning, she kept on making mad faces at Ji-woo, which let him know that she was ignoring him from now on. Rose and Rockstar observe all of this behavior and the tension between Ji-woo and Jung Hee. They both start to wonder what must have happened between them. Jung Hee goes out to throw the trash, but she finds a man laying down besides the trash can. The man says that he is very hungry, so Jung Hee gets him a sandwich and some nice juice because that man reminded her of her father. The man finishes all the food and then tells Jung Hee that the food was not very good, and he says that he could have made the food better by himself if he wanted to. He says that the only reason he ate it was because he was hungry and he wanted to get rid of his hunger. Jung Hee then asks the man where his home is. The man replies by saying the USA, France, and New Zealand. After hearing this, Jung Hee thinks that the man is some kind of mentally ill patient, because if he lives in all of those countries, why would he be laying hungry next to trash cans in this situation? The man gets up and says that he will come again tomorrow. Ji-woo sees all of this, and when Jung Hee comes back inside, he asks her if that man was a family member, because if not, then why would she give that guy free food? She replies that she made him the sandwich only with waste materials, but then she says that if he, referring to Ji-woo, still isn't satisfied, he can cut the cost of the sandwich from her salary. She then turns around and and leaves. This makes Ji-woo angry too, because he wanted to say something more, but Jung Hee didn't listen and ignored it. Rockstar and Rose are both watching and observing the entire situation, so now they both take it upon themselves to fix it. In the next scene, we can see Rockstar telling Jung Hee about his performance with his band in a club, and also inviting her to the performance. After a bit of convincing, Jung Hee agrees to go to the meeting. We are now able to see Kim Young and Ye-ji meeting outside of the workplace office. Kim Young tells her not to hate and judge Jung Hee so much. He explains to her how she only does her work at the bar and nothing more, and he tells her that she should have more faith in Ji-woo as a boyfriend. Ye-ji responds and tells him not to say these things to her, and not to request this from her, because she says that she never does what she's told. Instead, she does what her heart pleases. She then explains to him how they are both in the same situation. Kim Young asks her how they are in the same situation. She explains that Kim Young just wants Jung Hee, and that she herself only wants Ji-woo, but Jung Hee is standing in between their relationship. Kim Young doesn't say anything because, deep down, he knows this is true, and he starts feeling sad and hurt from the inside. Kim Young gets back home just to find out that Jung Hee's brother, Song, has made the apartment filthy. Kim Young finds Song's business idea slip and reads that it says he plans to marry a rich woman as a career. He wants to spend Kim Young's money as if it were his own, and to use Kim Young's house as his own for as long as possible. After he reads this, Song realizes that he is back home, so Song asks Kim Young if they want to have food from a restaurant. Kim Young gets angry, screams at him, and then leaves the apartment. Song notices that Kim Young didn't take his bag with him, so he tries to meddle through his bag to get some money. But at that moment, Kim Young walks back into the apartment and grabs his bag to leave again. Song thinks that Kim Young is acting this way because he got into a fight with his girlfriend. Once Kim Young is out of the apartment, he wonders when he will finally be free from Song, and he thinks to himself how he is only keeping him because he is Jung Hee's brother, because if he wasn't her brother, Kim Young would have kicked him out of the house. On this note, the scene ends. Jung Hee is getting ready for Rockstar's performance and putting on lipstick. Ji-woo sees her looking good and walks over to ask her where she is going and whether or not she has a meeting with someone. Jung Hee doesn't even give him an answer and continues ignoring him. He then gets frustrated that she is ignoring him, so he taunts her by saying that no matter how much lipstick a soju puts on, it can never become a fancy cocktail, and in reality, it will always remain a soju. Jung Hee gets annoyed by him and asks him to mind his own business and not interfere with hers. He replies that he is minding his own business, and that he's actually here working out. Jung Hee ignores him again and leaves without giving him any reply. Jung Hee is walking to the club for Rockstar's performance, and while she is walking on the sidewalk, Ji-woo comes in his car, stops the car next to her, and honks the horn very loudly multiple times. He then drives away just to annoy Jung Hee because she does not like the loud honking of cars. She finally reaches the club and is very happy, but her happiness comes to a halt when she sees Ji-woo enters the club in style. And not only that, but he also brings in snacks for everyone there. Everyone is sitting backstage and eating the snacks together, sitting at a table. Jung Hee turns to Rose and asks why Rose didn't tell her that Ji-woo would also be coming. Rose replies that she did not tell Jung Hee because then Jung Hee would not come. Rose tells Ji-woo and Jung Hee how she has been noticing the heated environment between the both of them, and that she has been noticing and observing how the both of them have been acting as if there was a fight. Ji-woo replies by saying that there is no fight between them, and then asks Rose how or why they would even be in a fight in the first place. Rockstar then intervenes and asks them to pause this conversation for now, saying that they can resume it later, because now it is time for Rockstar to go up and do his performance. He then leaves the backstage room and goes on stage to start his performance. He is extremely nervous because this is his first ever performance, but he feels relaxed when people start to enjoy his song a lot. He is very happy when he sees people enjoying his performance because now he has fulfilled his name and his dream of becoming a rock star. There is a huge crowd enjoying Rockstar's performance, and the club is extremely full of people and crowded. Ji-woo notices that a man is continuously pushing Jung Hee and trying to mess with her. When he sees this, he comes there and pushes the man away, grabs Jung Hee and keeps her close so she can enjoy the performance without being disturbed. They both then look at each other and have a moment. They are both lost in eye contact and in each other's eyes. Suddenly, Jung Hee comes back to reality and she panics and stomps on Ji-woo's leg to push him away. Later, Jung Hee and Ji-woo sit on a bench outside of the club, and Jung Hee puts an anti-pain spray on Ji-woo's leg, which she stepped on. Ji-woo asks her if she did that purposefully and intentionally after last night's conversation. She gives off a lighthearted chuckle and asks him what he meant by last night. She says that she doesn't remember any conversation from last night at all. She then says that she thinks that Ye-ji and Ji-woo are both made for each other, and she keeps on saying things like they are perfect for each other, and they are an amazing couple. She then tells him how she finished her studies and started working a sitting job, but she realized that she was not made for a sitting job. So she started to work at her mom's restaurant, but everyone would call her auntie, even men who were over 20 years older than her. This makes Ji-woo laugh. She continues and tells him how she dreams of traveling to France and becoming a famous chef. So to fulfill her dream, she stole $30,000 from her mother. This leaves him in shock, and he asks her that she is also a thief, but she reassures him and tells him that she has only ever stolen her mom's money. She continues the story and tells him how she had $30,000 of her mom's money and $20,000 of her own money, and right as she was about to go to France, a friend of hers scammed her and took all the money. This makes Ji-woo sympathize with her. He comforts her and tells her that a lot worse could have happened, and that she is actually in a safe position. He tells her how she is in her own county in a safe city. He says it's good how she is with him, and she is working in a safe bar with a man who will always keep her safe. And this is better than anything else, so what more could she want? After hearing this, Jung Hee started laughing. Then Jung Hee keeps insisting on knowing the reason behind Ji-woo opening the bar in the daytime. Ji-woo finally feels comfortable enough to open up to her and tells her that he does not like the nighttime. As soon as the sun sets, his heartbeat goes haywire, his teeth grow longer, and his hair pops out all over his body. He was depicting a picture of a monster. Jung Hee is unamused to hear this because she feels like Ji-woo never talks about this serious stuff with her. Ji-woo leaves his jokes aside and tells her that although he does not become a monster, he really does dislike the nighttime. Jung Hee advises him to meet with a doctor to get cured, but Ji-woo refuses, as he does not believe that any doctor would cure him. He believes that only alcohol can curb his symptoms, which is why he keeps drinking most nights. Jung Hee advises him to find a better fix for himself and to not pass this serious condition off as a joke. Ji-woo does not focus on what she is saying as much as he focuses on how concerned she is for him. He's happy to see this and remarks joyfully that Jung Hee is always going to care for him. Jung Hee sets him straight up by refusing to acknowledge this and leaves before they can talk more about this, saying that she has to meet someone else now. On the other hand, the club owner refuses to pay Rockstar for his performance because he considers it a favor for Rockstar to even give him the opportunity to perform live. Rockstar pleads with him to get paid, as he desperately needs the money to get his instruments repaired. However, the club owner rudely refuses and leaves. Rose arrives at that moment and is saddened to hear of Rockstar's situation, but is unable to do anything about it. Jung Hee had gone to the park to meet Kim Young. When Kim Young arrived, he was angry and demanded an answer from Jung Hee for still working at Ji-woo's bar after he had been so rude to her that night. Jung Hee explains that it was all a misunderstanding that day, and there is nothing between Ji-woo and me anymore. She jokingly tells him that he can punch her if he's still mad at her, but he refuses because he doesn't raise his hands on girls. Instead, he goes to flick her head, but seeing her so close up, he is unable to do that either. They go back to playing around back and forth, and are happy to see that their friendship is still intact. Back at home, Kim Young wonders why he is unable to even jokingly raise a finger at Jung Hee. That's when he realizes that he cannot love a minute without Jung Hee, because not only is she his friend, but also the love of his life. His feelings are set in stone as he realizes that he needs to confess his feelings for Jung Hee and properly propose to her so that they may have a chance to begin together. The next morning, Rockstar tells Rose that he has an elephant that he brought with him from Thailand because his parents gifted it to him on his birthday. Rose laughs at this, wondering who gifted someone an elephant, and then asks Rockstar where this elephant is now. Rockstar tells her that it's in his room, and hearing this, Rose starts laughing wholeheartedly and asks him if his family owns a zoo. Before Rockstar could tell her more, a man arrived at the cafe. It turns out that he is the same man that Jung Hee served kindly when he came to the bar some time ago. His name was Mr. Gong, and once he sees Jung Hee at the bar, he orders a cocktail. Even after he's finished his drink, Mr. Gong sits idly at the bar, wasting his time, while the staff wonders when he will finally leave. Ji-woo's mom was organizing an event when her friend accidentally spilled coffee on her hands. Her friend was apologetic and took her hands to see if she had been hurt, but Ji-woo's father saw this and, out of jealousy, yelled at the man to get away from his wife. Ji-woo's mom asks him if he has gone crazy for yelling at her friend. Her husband is triggered by that and makes it clear in his mind that those two are having an affair. Ji-woo's mom is trying to knock sense into her husband when she notices that he has dyed his hair purple. She was horrified and proclaimed that, like son, like father, Ji-woo had dyed his hair a similar odd color in the past, and she did not like it one bit. She shames her husband for trying out such fashions at his old age and leaves in anger. At the office, Yeji is being scolded by her mom for rudely leaving a conversation with her friend's son. Yeji refuses to listen to her mother and announces to her that she plans on moving out of the house and living life on her own terms. Yeji's mom is shocked, but before she could say anything more, Yeji left the office, seeing that her stepfather had arrived and using this as an opportunity to leave. Yeji's stepfather explains to her mom that Yeji is a grown-up now, and that's why she can't be forced into dating someone. This reveals how good-natured Yeji's stepfather is and how much he cares for her. Back at the bar, Ji-woo plays with the cat, but the cat runs away. Ji-woo goes after the cat to retrieve it, but ends up seeing Jung Hee trying to sneak in. He wonders what she is doing here, but Jung Hee simply sneaks into the storage room and sleeps on the sofa. Seeing this all sneakily, Ji-woo was shocked. He goes back to his room quietly, but remembers the day he caught Jung Hee coming out of the storage room early in the morning one day. He then realizes that Jung Hee is sleeping here every night and laughs, wondering how she can sleep here at all. In the morning, Jung Hee sneaks out of the storage room and rents the bar, pretending to just come in. Ji-woo is amused to see her pretending, but he plays along. He asks her how she is here so early and hands her a blanket, instructing her to keep it in the storage room. It's an extra, and he's not in need of it. Unbeknownst to Jung Hee, Ji-woo has deliberately done this so that Jung Hee will be able to sleep peacefully at night with the blanket. The next scene starts off by showing Rose and Rockstar sitting outside the bar on a bench. Rockstar shows Rose his miniature elephant, but it is not any regular elephant. It is made out of pure gold. Rose is left shocked and speechless for a few seconds, and then she asks him if this is what he was talking about. He tells her that this golden elephant was, in fact, what he was talking about. He explains to her that he needs some money urgently, but whenever he goes to sell it, everyone thinks that it is a stolen good and no one buys it from him. Rose asks him if he is very, very rich because someone needs to be rich to get a golden elephant as a birthday gift. He replied that yes, he was actually wealthy, and he has another golden elephant back in his home country, Thailand. He says that he really needs to sell it for some money so that he can get his instruments repaired. Rose begins to cut off the nose of the elephant so he can sell it without it being too suspicious, and she also tells him that if he still needs more money, she can cut the golden elephant into even smaller pieces. He says no. He explains that this golden elephant is very important to him emotionally, and the only reason he is cutting off the nose is because he has no other option. Yeji's mother and Ji-hyuk sit in Yeji's mom's office. Yeji's mom asks him why he still works under her when his own father has a very successful company and business. He takes a long, deep breath before he answers, and then he explains to her that he does it because Yeji's father, referring to her husband, told him to before he died, and also because he saw Min-jo leaving the house that night and looking angry. He regrets not stopping her, and he says that if he had stopped him, he would not have died, so he blames himself for it. Yeji's mother laughs slowly and says the one who killed her son is actually living fine, and he is away. But the one who has not killed Jin lives here and feels the guilt for it. Yeji's mom tells him that Yeji is now also moving out of the house, and she thinks that it is so that Yeji can get closer to Ji-woo. She tells Ji-hyuk to make sure that Ji-woo and Yeji do not get close, and she tells him to make sure that they do not become together as a couple. This leaves Ji-hyuk speechless. At the bar, Rose asks Jung Hee out for a dinner, which will be paid for and treated by Rockstar. Before Jung Hee could agree and commit, Ji-woo enters and asks Jung Hee to go shopping with him for Bear, the cat. She had no other option but to go with him because the cat was also her responsibility, so she agreed. When they reached Ji-woo, he was getting things for Jung Hee instead of the cat. He was getting things like blankets, pillows, and snacks. He then told Jung Hee to put these things in the storeroom. Jung Hee asks him why. She is curious as to why these things are going in the storeroom. He tells her that he is getting all of this in case Jung Hee, Rose, or Rockstar get tired and can rest in the storeroom. Ji-woo pretends like he knows now, but Jung Hee is living in the storeroom, but he actually does know it, so he is getting everything just for her. Jung Hee is very happy that she will have new things to use for sleep, but she does not know that Ji-woo knows she is sleeping there, so she just gets happy knowing she can live there more comfortably. The next scene shows Rose and Rockstar having a dinner. Rose says to Rockstar that whenever he goes to sell the gold, he should take her with him, otherwise people will think of him as a foreigner and scam him for less money. She then gave him a bite with her own hands. He calls her kind and thanks her with compliments. She then asks him why he came to Korea to practice music rather than staying in Thailand. He said that his people would not accept him as a musician there. When she asked him why not, he told her that he was the royal prince of Thailand. She bursts out laughing, thinking that he is joking, and says that he might be rich, but that doesn't mean he's the prince, so she laughs at it, thinking it's a joke. Inside, Rockstar knows that no one will ever believe him, so it's better if he does not tell anyone. After that, we can see Ji-woo and Jung Hee working together when Ji-woo gets a call from Yeji, and he leaves to go and meet her. And then Jung Hee also gets a call from Kim Yong, and he asks her to meet him, so she agrees. We then see Kim Yong getting ready, and he looks really nice just to meet Jung Hee because today, he will confess his love feelings for Jung Hee to her. Song was lying down on the bed and looking at Kim Yong. When Kim Yong asked him what's wrong, he said that he is just feeling a little sick, so that's why he wants to stay at home for the night. But when Kim Yong leaves, he starts to follow him to find out who this girlfriend actually is. Kim Yong is very excited to meet Jung Hee and tell her his feelings, so he dances and walks in a very jolly way. But he crosses the road just as the signal turns red, so that means he has crossed the road, but Song is stuck back since he could not cross on time. Kim Young finally reaches the park where Jung Hee was waiting for him, and when he reaches it, she asks him why he called her to meet him in a couple's park. But Kim Young doesn't reply, he just stares into her eyes. On the other side of town, Ji-woo reaches Ye-ji's new apartment. He gets in and asks her why she moved out of her family's house, and he tells her that she should not take this decision and should go back. But she refuses to listen and says that the reason she moved out was because her mother refused to accept the fact that she loves him. Ji-woo tells her to stop behaving like a kid and stop all of this. She doesn't listen, and instead she kisses his eye, then his nose, then gets close to him and is about to kiss his lips. On the other hand, Jung Hee had been caught by her brother. He was now aware that she was pretending to be in Paris while actually being in Korea. Hence, Song tells Jung Hee to go back home with him and tell their mom the truth. Jung Hee begs him not to tell anything to their mother. She makes her intentions clearly known to him. Her promise was to earn back the money and pay it all back to her mom. She requests that Song let her stay here. While initially Song refused, he eventually agreed on the condition that he would now stay here in Korea with them as well, and both Kim Young and Jung Hee would have to pay for his expensive makeup for lying to him. Kim Young and Jung Hee had no other choice but to agree. Song stayed the night with Kim Young and used this opportunity to talk to him like an older brother. He warns Kim Young that even though Jung Hee might not notice, he is aware of what Kim Young is thinking. Hearing this, Kim Young was nervous and jumped to explain that he had no such ill intentions. Song comes to the conclusion that the night he arrived, that woman in the washroom was Jung Hee. Kim Young explains that although that is true, there is no such thing. He explained to an increasingly irritated Song that he and Jung Hee share the room on a day and night basis. That is, while Kim Young is working during the day, Jung Hee sleeps at home. Whereas, when Jung Hee works her nightshirt job as a chef, Kim Young sleeps at home. Kim Young further explains that nothing has ever happened between him and Jung Hee. Hearing this Song made me feel relieved, but I still used this opportunity to get Kim Young to buy his favorite food and boss him around. Kim Young had no other option but to comply. At the bar, Jung Hee was asleep when she got a nightmare where her brother was still screaming at her. She wakes up drenched in sweat and takes a breath of relief when she realizes that it was just a dream. That's when she hears some strange noises from the door. She is scared but goes to check it out when she sees a reflection of her brother in the window. The reflection of her brother screams at her and blackmails her to get the money, slowly crawling towards her to kill her. Jung Hee screams but sees her mom standing outside of the storeroom. Her mom looked like a demon, and she also told Jung Hee to pay her money back. Seeing all of this, Jung Hee closes her eyes, scared for her life. That's when she wakes up and realizes that it was a nightmare. As the day progresses in the bar, Rockstar sees Rose working and finds himself staring at her, his checks turning red. Somewhere in between, he started to catch feelings for Rose. Rose notices him staring and asks him what's wrong, but he makes an excuse and disappears. Rose runs into Jung Hee while working and takes notice of her ghastly appearance. She asks Jung Hee if she is sick, but Jung Hee refuses, even though it was so obvious that she was. Rose is about to mention this to Ji-woo, but Jung Hee requests that she stay quiet and leaves. Ji-woo had noticed Jung Hee's sick condition by then, and so he brought her medicine, telling her that he takes care of all of his employees. Jung Hee internally wonders why he is acting kind to her again when he was the one who asked Jung Hee to stay away. At the office, Kim Young was performing great at his presentation, but as soon as the meeting ended, Ji-hyuk stopped Ye-ji and asked her the reason for her leaving home. Ye-ji informs him that she is doing all of this for Ji-woo, as she is dating Ji-woo now. That's why, until her mother does not accept Ji-woo, Ye-ji refuses to go home. Hearing this, Ji-hyuk was surprised. On the other hand, Kim Young was staring out aimlessly on the balcony thinking of Jung Hee. Ye-ji approaches him and strikes up a conversation, as now he is the only one she considers a friend of her in the workplace. She also feels comfortable talking about Jung Hee and Ji-woo with him. Back at the bar after work, Jung Hee was taking her leave when Ji-woo tried to reach out to her to check her fever. At this, Jung Hee got angry. She exploded at him for initially telling her to stay away from him, and now crossing the boundary himself by trying to care for her. She gives Ji-woo the medicine he gave her earlier and goes to leave. However, Ji-woo does not let her leave, and instead forces her to take a seat at the bar. There, he prepares a different kind of cocktail and serves it to her, telling her that this will fix her cold. Hearing this, Jung Hee tries out the cocktail reluctantly, and to her surprise, she likes it. Ji-woo asks her how she likes it while complimenting himself. Jung Hee decides not to inflate his already huge ego and leaves. At night, Kim Young and Song were out having dinner together. Song uses this opportunity to ask Kim Young why he likes Jung Hee so much. Kim Young tells him that it's because Jung Hee is really beautiful. Hearing this Song, he was repulsed and told Kim Young to get his eyes checked for finding his ugly sister beautiful. Kim Young comes to Jung Hee's defense and explains to him that Jung Hee made mistakes in the past, but she's a really good person inside. He explains that he feels like he's the only one who really knows Jung Hee, and that's why she is always on his mind. He would have confessed his feelings for her long ago had he not been scared of rejection. Hearing this song, I realized that Kim Yong actually liked his sister, and that is when he decided to help Kim Yong propose to Jung Hee. Kim Yong was excited to hear this. Back at the bar, Ji-woo goes to check up on Jung Hee and hopes to find her in the storage room, but she is not there. He wonders where it is this late at night. He waits up in hope that Jung Hee might return soon, wondering where she is, and most importantly, who she is with. Jung Hee was simply hanging around outside. She was deciding not to sleep tonight, as the medicine she took had sleep in it. If she went back to sleep in the storage room and was unable to wake up on time in the morning, Ji-woo would find out that she had been sleeping there. The bar was filled with customers, and one of them was Mr. Gong, who was ordering Rockstar around. Rockstar tell Rose that Mr. Gong had already had a lot of drinks but refused to pay, and in fact left too. Jung Hee then approached Mr. Gong to convince him to leave. Mr. Gong is not easy to deal with, and instead scolds Jung Hee for trying to kick him out. He deludes himself into thinking that because of him, the number of customers coming to the bar has increased, and that he is good luck for this bar. Jung Hee had no belief in what he was claiming, and so Mr. Gong agreed to leave, but only on the condition that he get something to eat first, as he was hungry. Jung Hee brings him food, making sure to hide this from Ji-woo. Before leaving, he compliments her food, but instructs her to make some changes to enhance the flavor. Later on in the day, Jung Hee makes the same meal again, but this time as he had advised her to. She serves it to Rockstar and Rose, who compliment the meal. And that's when Jung Hee realizes that the advice Mr. Gong gave her truly worked. After work, all three of the staff members take their leave, but Ji-woo stops Jung Hee and inquires about her whereabouts from last night and where she slept. Hearing this, Jung Hee was shocked at the nature of the question and told him that she was at her home, where she was supposed to sleep. With that, she left. Ji-woo is confused and wonders why she has been sleeping at the bar if she has a house. Later, Ji-woo met up with his brother and father. Ji-hyuk was looking after the accounts of Ji-woo's bar when, out of nowhere, their father told them that soon their mother might be remarrying another man. Ji-woo is shocked and wonders if his mother has a boyfriend. His father believes so and asks Ji-hyuk for his opinion on this matter. Ji-hyuk advises them all to respect their mother's decision. Hearing this, their father was mad with anger at the thought of this happening while he was still alive. He tells Ji-hyuk off for not taking his side, but Ji-woo intervenes and tells his father to let Ji-hyuk be, as he does not understand since he never had feelings for anyone. Ji-hyuk takes this moment to ask Ji-woo what's going on between him and Yeji, but Ji-woo gets quiet at that. He took his leave soon. Jung Hee was on her way to meet Kim Yong, who had asked to meet her, but his cell phone was powered off, and she couldn't get through to him. Song was hiding in a corner, waiting for Jung Hee. As soon as he saw her arrive, he flicked the light button on, and a beautiful ramp with candle lights lit up. It led to a screen where a scenic photo of Paris was displayed. Seeing this, Jung Hee was really happy and went towards it. That's when the display started changing, and the screen showed more pictures of France, but these ones had Jung Hee photoshopped in them, as she was in France herself. Jung Hee was over the moon, and wondered who did this for her and how they knew her so well. That's when Kim Yong, dressed smartly in a dapper suit, approached her. Seeing him, Jung Hee was stunned and speechless. Seeing her so surprised, Kim Yong starts explaining that he is surprising her because he wants to confess his feelings for her today. He takes out a locker and puts it in for Jung Hee, telling her that he had always liked her since they were kids, but when this like turned into love, he did not know. Jung Hee asks him what he means, quite confused to see what's happening. Kim Yong then finally tells her that he wants her to be his girlfriend and stay with him forever, for the rest of their time. He ends it by telling her, "I love you." Jung Hee was not only rendered speechless, but she was frozen. Song was frowning at Kim Yong's lengthy speech and wondering why he wasn't just sealing the deal by kissing her. It seems like Kim Yong had gotten the same idea as he reached forward and kissed Jung Hee, who stood in her spot, unable to process. Jung Hee is thinking about everything that just happened, and she is walking into Ji-woo's house to sneak into his storeroom to sleep. But when she is walking across the driveway, all of the lights suddenly turn on. Ji-woo turned all of the lights on to show Jung Hee that he knows that Jung Hee has been living in his storeroom every single night. They both go inside and talk. Ji-woo says that he gave her the second key just so that she could come early in the morning to do the cleaning, not for her to secretly live here. Jung Hee explains herself and tells him that she had no other option and had to do this. Ji-woo does not accept this and asks her if she has been kicked out of her house or if she even has a house in the first place. Jung Hee says that both of these things are the reason. Ji-woo asked her where she used to live before she started living in his house secretly. She tells him that she used to live in Kim Yong's house. He's completely shocked by how a girl like Jung Hee can live with a low life like Kim Yong. Jung Hee tells him that they just used to share a room and nothing more. Ji-woo does not believe this and asks her how it is even possible for two adults to live together like this. After this statement, the both of them start to argue, and when the argument gets loud, Ji-woo shouts at her and tells her to get out. Jung Hee turns away and starts to walk away to leave, but Ji-woo suddenly grabs her arm to stop her. He asks her if she's going to go to Kim Yong's house now. She answers yes, since that is the only place she has to go. He tells her that they will come up with a solution for this together, but tells her not to go to Kim Yong's house. He then gives her permission to continue staying in his house for a few days. On the other hand, Kim Yong was very happy, and he could not stop thinking about his first kiss. However, Song was worried and frustrated. He was wondering why Jung Hee did not answer even after such an amazing surprise, but Kim Yong was not worried. He told Song to stop worrying. He said that Jung Hee was probably still shocked, and she would tell him his answer soon. The next morning, Kim Yong kept checking his phone to see if he had received any response from Jung Hee, but she had not given him any response yet. Yeji comes over to Kim Yong and starts to frustrate him, so Kim Yong just leaves. A few school students enter Kim's cafe, so Kim, Ji-woo's neighbor, comes up with a plan. He gives 3 female students some free desserts and tells them that if they do a small task for him, he will give them free snacks and desserts for an entire month. So the girls agree. The girls get dressed well, go to Ji-woo's cafe, and then order some cocktails. When their cocktails arrive, they record videos of the drinks, and upon the girls' request, Rockstar, who was serving them the drinks, also comes in the video with the girls. At the same time, Jung Hee is sitting with Mr. Gong, asking him for some of his recipes. Mr. Gong tells her that his recipes are really famous and special, so he cannot give them away for free, so he offers a deal to Jung Hee. He says that for every 5 recipes, he must get some free food from Jung Hee. Jung Hee agrees to this offer. There's some commotion and noise in the outside seating section of the bar, which Jung Hee goes to investigate. It turns out that a customer ordered a lot of food and drinks, but was refusing to pay because he said he did not like the taste. Rose refuses to listen to him and tells him to pay for the meal, so the man slowly tries to slap Rose. But Rose avoids his slap. She asks the man to show some respect and manners. Jung Hee runs over to help defuse the situation, but the man tries to slap Rose again, but he ends up hitting Jung Hee instead. When he hit Jung Hee, she fell down on the floor. This infuriates Ji-woo, so he jumps in and kicks the man on the chest, making him fall to the ground. Ji-woo threatens the man to leave right now, otherwise he will get beat up. Jung Hee tries to calm down Ji-woo to prevent him from hitting the man. Ji-woo warns the man that if he does not leave right now, Ji-woo will attack him. The man finally leaves, and then it turns out that Kim, the cafe owner, was hiding and recording the entire incident because he had paid that man to do this. The man goes up to Kim and collects his money for doing all of this.